Hi guys, my name is Carrie White. I'm an SIU graduate student. I'm doing this presentation on acceptance and commitment therapy. So there were two different activities. The first activity that I will go through targeted a variety of the areas of the Hexaflex. Of those areas were acceptance, self-conduct, and committed actions to your values. This one focused mainly on older students or adults, while the second activity was focusing on diffusion activities for children ages 10 and under. So moving into the first activity. So the first activity was kind of having the client or whoever it was having those judgmental thoughts about others. So we're going to accept that we're having those thoughts and then figure out ways to kind of release those thoughts. So we also talked about committed action. There is a clicker activity that I will go into next. So the judgmental thoughts, that tier one was talking about the script for the individual who's doing it. So have you ever judged somebody without being mindful of why they may be doing a certain thing? Then moving into the discussion. What can you do when you're having those thoughts about others? What can we do to change those thoughts? And then the experiment was that you were going to give them one of those clickers that were on the last page and that they had to spend the next 30 minutes at work with all of their colleagues. And when they're having a judgmental thought, click one time each on the clicker. Come back once the 30 minutes are over and then okay, so continuing from that, now that they finished that activity, they're going to bring the clicker back. And then do you think that you were judging others often or not really? Do you think that that judging could impact your values? So if your values are based on your relationships with other people, could those thoughts be impacting the way you're developing those relationships, the way you maintain those relationships, and how can we commit to improving those relationships? So after that, they would watch the following video. I encourage you when you have time to click the video, but overall, the video is just showing two adults that are sitting on a park bench. One is drawing a really awesome picture, and another guy is running in the park, and he comes back and he's trying to tell her that she did a really good job on the drawing, but she doesn't respond. He gets really upset. He assumes that she's just like every other girl, just not wanting him to communicate, and because of that, he kind of gets upset and riled. Well, unfortunately, the girl was deaf and did not hear him the entire time, so he judged without actually knowing. So then moving on to the okay, so for my second activity, we're going to focus on diffusion, the students' views and thoughts about themselves. I used what's called Nearpod, if anyone's familiar with it. We have a subscription at my school, so we like to make a lot of these lessons using Nearpod. It's really fun for the kids. Essentially what it is that I control the lesson, but the students have access to it on their iPads and then can participate with it in it along with us. So once
Hi
it,
guys.
sorry. I am going to start it, but unfortunately there's background noise going on, so it's not picking up the video that I made at the beginning. So I'm just going to talk through it. So when you're looking at this, this is what the students are going to see, exactly what you're saying. So the first thing is a picture of a boy. On it, it says, what words would you use to describe this person? So you would then be able to take it and write words, and you could type the words, or you can write it with a marker or a pencil. There's different ways to write on it. So you might identify this boy as maybe looking mean or angry or upset. You could also just say boy, rosy cheeks. If they think he looks like he would be fun, they could write that as well. So like I said, there's a variety of different ways for them to write. If they struggle with spelling, then sometimes I'll just tell them to draw a picture of what it makes them feel. There's also a few different examples so that we can go with this little girl being maybe silly or funny, or just we could say girl. The last one that we're going to do before we go into the activity is this little boy. So they could say sad, lonely. So then moving on, it would say, now draw a self-portrait of you and think of words you would use to describe yourselves. So on the screen, they would be able to then start with drawing a picture of themselves. And then they would then spend some time labeling different things that they think about themselves, different words or different thoughts that come to mind when they think about themselves. So the open-ended question would be, now I want you to think about those words. And I want you to think, do any of those words make you feel sad, nervous, or angry at yourself? Pick one of those words, and then they're going to type it to me. And when they're ready, they can submit it, and then we will move on. So now I want you to write the word in the middle of the page, that word that made you feel that way. We are going to draw a picture around it. Everyone can then draw a house around your word. Think about how you are building your house. Does it have a window, door? What color is your house? Is your house big or little? What is the purpose of a house? Does it provide shelter when it rains or storms? Is it a safe place to go? Can your family fit in your house? Now I want you to send me your house. But before you do that, I want you to erase the word in the middle. That word needs to be erased and the positive words you wrote valued. So here's where they would then be drawing their house on their little screen, and then they would send it to me once they are ready. Now the last one, this is a word that they are all struggling with, that they continuously bring up to me, is the word stupid. So this time we are going to write the word stupid, all of us. When we are beginning, we're going to draw a tree around the word. A tree is something that is strong. It stays strong. It stays standing through the storm and lightning. We are like the trees. We are strong and we remain standing throughout our struggles. This word does not describe who we are, so we are going to erase it and send it off. When you are done, please submit it to me, and then we will move on. Then to tie everything up, now I want them to draw a picture of themselves again. But this time I want them to really think about what they're labeling themselves with, describing themselves. And then once complete, they can send it to me. And then there is a poll for them to take. The poll just says, now when you think about that word, do you feel more anxious, frustrated, upset, or do you feel less anxious, frustrated, or upset? There's also a little part that I recorded, because depending on the way you're going to do the Nearpod lesson, the students might do it at their own pace, and if they do, then they could just hear me asking those exact questions. Other than that, that is the Nearpod lesson. Hope you guys enjoyed it. So then, that is the end. So there were two different activities. I kind of made one targeting younger students, and then one that was more for older adults and maybe even like that teenage range. So thank you guys for listening.